breaking down the window, the wild ongoing one. I had a 2-month affair with a co-worker. I was depressed at the time and he took advantage of that. I do take full responsibility for my actions since I was a willing participant. My husband snooped through my phone and ended up catching us while we were out at dinner. My coworker ended up quitting and I've been repairing my marriage since. This all happened 3 months ago and we still have several issues that need to be resolved. My husband begged me to not cheat on him again and that he wanted to work on the marriage. I do love him and I wanted to work on things also. He wanted to know all the details of the affair. He wanted to know where we had slept together, positions, and how many times. I wanted to be as transparent as possible, so I told him the truth about everything. My husband has an issue with the fact that I gave the other man several X. My husband hasn't gotten X from me in years, and it was because I grew bored of it. He stopped going down on me, so I didn't go down on him. So now he's upset that I did this with the other man, and he keeps bringing it up. He will not let it go at all. One minute he says he's over it, but he ends up saying something sarcastic about it. It's really turning me off. How can I get him to get over this and move on? There are several other things that I did with the other man that I don't do with my husband, but the X seemed to be what's bothering my husband the most. I don't know why I did all these things with this other man. I just like his dominance and his way of making me submit to him. That's something that my husband has never done. He just seems too soft. I really want my husband to be the man that I need him to be, but I feel like he is abusing me emotionally. I don't want to leave him, but I will if he doesn't change the way he thinks. What can I do to salvage this marriage? How can I get him to get over this so we can move on? My comment: the audacity of you to expect him to change into something he is not, in the wake of your betrayal, is pretty horrible. Your entire post is about you and how to make it better for you, alleviate your guilt, etc., rather than what you could do to actually help him heal. Hint: it is a 2 to 3 year process that requires a ton of work, and it does not include getting over it anywhere in the curriculum. It doesn't sound like you have much love for your husband anyway. Why do you want to stay? First thing you have to decide is if you can love your husband. Right now, with your attitude, it's clear you don't. This is a very long road, and frankly, if you don't love your husband and aren't willing to step up, do the hard work, and fix yourself, then move on. He will be better off without you. He will get over it, believe me, sooner than you or he thinks. What you need to understand is affairs are abuse. They cause long-term PTSD and change people for life and who they are. The only one abusive in this relationship is you. I mean, you should expect him to have some harsh words for you. You deserve them. That's pretty typical in the first 2 years of the aftermath. OP responds: I feel like I need to explain myself more since I'm getting drugged through the dirt and I don't like it. It doesn't matter how many X I gave because that's not the point. My husband is making a big deal about it, but I don't care about what I did physically. I care about how the other man made me feel. If my husband could be more alpha and assertive, I would be on my knees every night. He was like that earlier when we were dating, but now, he's soft. If it wasn't for our kids and the lifestyle that he provides, I would have been gone. Let's be honest, us women will do anything for a dominant man that we respect. That's why I did that for the other man, and I don't regret it. I only regret not breaking it off before my husband found out. Several have said that it will take years for him to recover, so I get that. I don't know if I can stay around that long, but I'll at least recommend counseling to him. At least with counseling, he can shift his focus to our relationship and not sorry about how intimate me and the other men was. I thought I laid it out pretty straightforward, but I'll answer you. Me and my husband were very adventurous early in the marriage. Slowly over time, he became more and more disinterested in bonding. I've had 2 kids and my weight is down to what it was before our first child. I get approached by men all in different age ranges, so I know I still got it. My husband has always been a good provider in the past, so I never considered cheating or leaving him. It's just the bonding stalled and he made the transition from being the dominant man to Mr. Mom. It's hard to explain, but he's became feminine. As far as the X, he stopped going down on me years ago, so I stopped. He tried to push for X in the past, but I'd always shut him down. Eventually, he stopped asking. As I write all this out, I realize that it might not work after all. I like to have a strong dominant alpha man to come tell me what to do and have his way with me. My husband used to dominate me and would just put it in me without even asking. He just changed over time, and I don't know if I can look at him differently. The issue of X is meaningless to me. I had no emotional connection with the other man. I still love my husband. He's still a good father and he provides a good life for me and my kids. I apologize if I offended anyone here by saying he needs to man up. What I meant is that he needs to stand up and fight for me if he really wants me. I chose to give him another chance, so he needs to appreciate that and fight for it. If I was getting everything I needed at home, there would be no reason for me to step outside the marriage. The fact that he prefers to dwell on X rather than how he can make me happy further proves where his priorities are. Comment: so, sorry but no. Why would he want someone who blatantly disrespected him, did physical acts with another that she would not do with him, and has absolutely no remorse? Sorry to say this, but you are a poor choice to try to reconcile with. You have exactly the wrong, entitled attitude that makes sure no reconciliation is possible. Get divorced, don't screw him over in the negotiations, and then you can go find all the alphas you want to treat you like you want. I would not expect any of them that would treat you like that will be any sort of good father or provide a good life for you, but it seems that this is what you need right now. Don't torment the poor guy any longer. Just take the blame and let him go. OP responds, first of all, I am remorseful. Just the fact that I'm here trying to fight for my marriage proves that I care about him. If I wanted to, I could be gone tomorrow and leave him in my rear view. I don't know what else I could say to prove that I'm sorry, but I am. Yes, I know what I did was wrong, but I'm not going to dance around the fact that it would not have happened if he was the man I needed. It's as simple as that. I have my reasons for cheating. I gave my reasons for giving him the dirty axe that my husband didn't get. Maybe I'm too blunt, but it's the truth. He has every right to leave, but deep down, he knows it's in his best interest to be with me. If we were to divorce, he wouldn't survive simply due to child support and alimony. And I know it's subjective, but I would feel like he would never find another woman as attractive as me. On the flip side, he's a great father and provider for us. I know another man couldn't fill his shoes. So, I do care about him and our well-being. Maybe I'm not conveying how I feel correctly, but I do love and need him. That's why I want him to get help to get over this. When he caught me, I wanted to leave. He was the one that said he wanted a second chance. He was the one that convinced me that he could change. So, he asked for the second chance and he got it. I could have walked away, but you guys are dragging me for trying to get through this with him. The point I was making was that whichever way this goes, I win in the end. It's just the way the world works. I'm not sure how this relates to me trying to repair my marriage, but I figured I could at least correct you on that. He got nice over the years, and yes, he became a pushover. He almost became Mr. Mom. If I could give any man advice, it would be to always stay masculine so us women can stay feminine. When a man is too feminine, it causes us women to get more masculine, and that makes us uncomfortable. Some of us can't handle it. I used to wish my husband would be more assertive. I wish he would take charge during bonding more. I wanted him to lead and not agree with everything I said. I wanted him to tell me no sometimes. He needed to be a man. I swear I would have been on my knees every night if he would have done that. It doesn't excuse my cheating, but that's the main reason why I decided to step outside my marriage. I'm working on reading and trying to be better. My comment: if you are particularly attractive as you say, there will always be men for you. But as said, it will be very difficult to find one that loves you like your husband did. You should divorce. Your cheating has put him in a bind and made him weak from worrying about losing his family. You'll never see him as a wife should see her husband again. Do you even realize that you have hurt the man you swore to love, and the father of your kids, in the worst way you possibly could have? If you'd have given him a choice, he'd have rather been shot and killed than have to live with what you've done. It really seems you are totally lacking in empathy. I will bet you are an absolute knockout physically. Seems a lot of people have a bunch of one thing and a little of another. Let's be realistic. What could your husband do that would make you see him like you once did? Story 2, The Baller. Found out my husband of over a decade, father of my twins, was having an affair in April, since early December, so almost 5 months. Decided to be a doormat and tried to work it out even though he was so confused and didn't know what he wanted. We did counsel and a lot of talking, and he finally said he wanted to work it out and everything an idiot needs to believe he actually wanted to. 3 months later I get a call from a friend that she sees him with some chick in public. So I go down there and catch them together in the parking lot. God knows where they were headed, but I can guess. I somehow managed to control myself and not hurt the nasty little skank or my disgusting excuse for a husband. No, I am not going to be that moron again, or ever again, thank you very much. I am over all of my silly dreams of overcoming infidelity because I saw for myself what he was willing to ruin my life and my kids' lives over, and it makes me physically sick. But here is the thing, I'm stuck in limbo until I can move out in 4 months, so I feel like my healing is on hold until then, even though he is being decent now and not seeing her and being remorseful, kind because we have to live in the same house until then. Just trust that there aren't other options at this time, and I want to keep an amicable arrangement for my own sake when negotiating the actual divorce. Here is my problem. The sheer, soul-shattering trauma of seeing him hug her, hold her, in that parking lot. Seeing him smile while he knowingly betrayed me for God and all to see. Seeing her smile while she acted like she had any right to be in his arms. She is also married with children, but whatever, classy. On one hand, it was the killing blow of the marriage, which is what I needed. On the other, I physically puked for weeks just thinking about it. Then it's panic attacks. Now I just can't stop thinking about it over and over and over. She has tried to contact him since then and coerce him into responding. He hasn't, which has nothing to do with my demands. He is actually trying to do the decent thing until I move out because he knows he's destroyed all of lives. Anyways, I guess I'm just lost, grieving so deeply I feel like I've been stabbed. Literally, hoping for advice on how to get through this so my little kids don't have to deal with their mom being a mess. Do the visuals ever stop? Do you ever feel like you aren't being kicked in the face when you wake up? You legit made me cry, in a good way for once. I am in counseling, and her husband knows. He caught them together months ago and they continue to do this. I'm not sure if he is divorcing her or not. Sadly, all the signs were abundant. I just ignored them and refused to believe he'd possibly go that far. He actually did use that phrase, "I'm not happy anymore. You never showed me enough love." And I told him I wasn't happy either, but I didn't find another man's crap to jump on. It was a choice and I can't forgive it twice. Coming to terms with the end of my family and life as I know it is what's got me depressed as well. But I'd rather be alone for life than live this way. It's easy to be on the fence when your wife is breaking her back to do this sick monkey dance to keep you, doing everything she can to make a new relationship, giving time to make up his mind and having scorching hot bonding every day. And when he slipped back into the behavior, an affair that ended, he lost me and for the first time in 17 years is actually feeling the loss of me. And not even completely. Physically I'm still here. He keeps saying he loves me, I said. Then you can prove it by not leading this single lifestyle until I leave and by helping me physically and financially leave you. He is doing both. I am a stay-at-home mom, by the way. The problem is housing inventory where we live. Rental and buying, which is why I'm getting into a new build, and I was very lucky to even be able to get the last lot in that development for the price I did. Neither of us have the type of family that wants or has room for us to move in, among other issues. Different rooms are the best I can do presently. I cannot live in this house permanently because it's too much for me to take care of. It has a pool and lots of grass. The electricity in the summer is outrageous and I simply can't afford it, and I don't want to live house poor. The housing market has shot up and the house is worth a good deal more, but he is paying me out the equity. Yes, I know he wants to reconcile, but he does not breach the subject because he can feel the wall around my heart, and I've never been this way, even when I caught him the first time. I've shut down my emotions to him this time and refused to speak of the affair, our family, or feelings. So yes, at some point he will probably bring it up, but I've already got my rebuttals planned. I'm telling you, my heart cracked into dust that day and I can't even be attracted to him anymore. I cringe when he says he loves me and he's sorry because I don't care. I don't want that brand of love. Seeing them fixed me in a way. He told her he loved her too, and being a side piece in the back of a SUV in parking lots was enough for her, so she can have that brand of love. It's nowhere enough for me. But also, he is very self-serving. There's no ego trip in it anymore for him. The affair lost its excitement, and now all he's left with is the freedom to see a not extremely attractive chick with lots and lots of baggage. He doesn't want it. He is a very good-looking man. He can find someone else to get his jollies off easily with someone less encumbered. I've come to terms with just how selfish and shallow he is, and I don't see him wanting her anymore. She was used for a feeling and the cost-benefit isn't there anymore. She is obsessed and is still trying to get him to talk to her. He showed me the texts. It's apparent he's gone dark and she doesn't like it. I'm hoping she's not a psychopath and starts stalking our house or something. Do that after I move, please. Anyways, by no means am I safe from my heart, which is why I'm here. I'm terrified in the next 4 months he will weasel his way back in, but I'm trying to stay angry and strong. Which is probably why I feel stuck, because I can't heal when I'm protecting myself. Every time he was caught it was because they flaunted it in public. My counselor indicated that is very atypical behavior. I am reading these stories and thinking, wow, I guess I'm just kind of the same old story then. That's disgusting and liberating all at once. He's been moving the money to my account as agreed. He's paying all the bills and paid my car off. Hasn't so much as tried to move one dime from our joint account. He is being decent and upstanding in this part of things. Yes, already consulted the lawyer and separation agreement is being drawn up and he hasn't fought anything at all. I'm also not asking for anything but what I feel is fair, half of the stuff we accrued in marriage and a reasonable sum of child support, which is more than the courts would even award me in the calculations. I have nothing to complain about now but my severely broken heart and my life in shatters. And I can't move out for 4 months. It hurts. Maybe because he has this ability for kindness it makes it hurt more. Sometimes it felt easier those 2 days he was a total jerk after being caught. This morning he said out of the blue, I just want you to know I will always love you, and I know it's not an excuse, but I just felt unwanted and it made me do stupid things. I think my brain had a mini stroke from trying so hard not to scream, I did not cause you to cheat, you jerk. And people don't do this to people they love. And you were a terrible husband. So, on and on. Instead, I kept a straight face and spoke, and then just let the awkward moment sit there like a rotting corpse. He finally sighed and said, just wanted you to know, and went to work. I wanted to scream and set the record straight, to stand up for my unstained integrity. But then I just thought, why? There is nothing to fix here. It doesn't matter why he thinks he cheated, does it? He will never understand the depths of the pain he caused me. Ever. And then I went and cried in the toilet room for a few minutes. There isn't a point in even engaging in these useless conversations, is there? I mean, arguments are meant to fix a wrong, to balance a tipped scale. We share our emotions and pain with people that can be trusted, not the people that caused it. Right? When I get really stressed out, I get this cold tingly feeling in my chest and my heart starts pounding. I have to work very hard not to have a panic attack. Well, that's what it was like today, just dreading it. And basically, he said I'm going to back off. I know I'm not being fair and it's making things harder on you. I'm here if you need to talk, and just let me know if you need anything. All well and good, right? Wrong. And always know I love you. My response was, right, I need to not have these little chats anymore. Thanks for trying to be nice, but it's not doing me any favors. He held up his hands like I was telling him he was being arrested and said, okay, got it. Looked like a kicked puppy, and I felt bad. Can you imagine that I would feel sorry for him? Me, the person stomped and dragged through the mud, feeling bad for the pig who drugged me through it. I thankfully kept my traitorous heart under control and my mouth zipped and hightailed it out of there until I could get my head screwed back on right. At no point did I want to try and get him back, but I wanted to. Hug him and pat his back. Where the hell did that come from? It's possible he knows me more than I know me and I'm being played like a cheap fiddle. Separation agreement should be completed and signed this week, filed next week, though even after it's through the court it doesn't actually apply until I'm out of the house. One small step toward the door, terrifying and satisfying at the same time. I'm so embarrassed. Just thinking they were behind my back, thinking what an idiot I was while he ran around with his thing, pretending to care about me to my face. I mean, yeah, I don't need anyone like that in my life. It's true. He made a mockery of me in so many ways. He forwards me all of her attempts at communication with him. I told him to stop. I don't want to see or hear anything about her. I couldn't resist looking at first, but now I just ignore and delete them. If I didn't hate her guts, I'd feel sorry for her. Gloating doesn't even make me feel better. He's offered to turn his GPS on. He sends me location pings of where he is when he leaves. All the stuff he refused to do when I found out the first time and I no longer want. I ignore it all and say nothing. I'm not asking for any of this stuff now. I think the main point is they can have each other. And now he doesn't seem to want it. That could change at any time. Absolutely, if he was really serious about getting rid of her, he wouldn't be ghosting her. He'd tell her in no uncertain terms to screw off. But it won't make a bit of difference to my future and plan of action. I'm set and moving toward my goal. My actions are no longer contingent on his. So, I am usually strong and angry enough to not care what he is doing or where he is, though he provides some of that information anyway as his trying to win me back bull crap. What I'm having issues with sometimes is that the need to know what he is doing and who he is with hits me randomly. Like today, the urge to know if he's actually where he says he is very strong. I don't want to care. Why does it matter who he is with or what he is doing with them? Having these very strong desires to text and make demands. Then I say how ridiculous. What is wrong with me? Then 5 minutes later, it's there again. Is this my future? Will it be easier when I am actually moved out and I don't have to be witness to the comings and goings? Or will it be harder, knowing he is playing happy single life all the time, and meanwhile I'm still trying to mourn my losses? Anyways, don't worry, I am not texting or calling him for any of this. I guess I just wanted help with it. And yes, staying busy is already on my agenda. It's just difficult to concentrate with this stupid anxiety about what he is doing. It absolutely serves no purpose. I'm finding it difficult. I'm too nice. Obviously am and have been a doormat for a long time. I can't just change who I am overnight. I shouldn't say who I am. This is who I became with a certain type of man. Finding my authentic self is impossible seeming. It's a difficult situation and I'm trying to manage it and get my head on straight at the same time, while dealing with the barrage of his emotion. I should say trying not to deal with his. His moods have always colored my own. I've always lived my life by his standards. Not to say it was always bad. He is charming and charismatic and likable, as are most cheaters I'm sure, and there were a lot of years leading up to the last 2 or 3 that were really great, and that's what I'm grieving too. Working very hard in counseling, doing my homework, talking to a few trusted friends, one who took the reconciliation route in her own life. She has not tried to push me in either direction, she just understands all of my emotion, and it helps, and she makes no secret about how difficult it can be for her 5 years later. I asked him kindly to back off on his onslaught. The cohabitating is difficult enough, but it's manageable when we are amicable and he is not pressing for reconciling. It makes me feel like a cornered animal when he does. He's agreed and it's better today. I feel I can breathe. This time is challenging for so many reasons. I'm in a pressure cooker. Reading the Chump Lady book and it's so helpful and amazing source of information. Especially the part about what true remorse looks like. Really rings true. And yes, I have exhibited all signs of being a chump. Even now I want to be friends with him while we navigate this time. Pathetic. I have so much work to do on myself and I feel like I can't even start most of it for months. And I also dread the day that I do have to move out of my house and deal with such a huge change, and how the kids are going to take it. Yeah, yesterday I was looking forward to it, today I'm dreading it. My life in a nutshell. I have a lot on my plate. Well, that turned into a Dear Diary moment. It's difficult to feel this weak and fragile, I guess. I feel like everything I do is wrong, but I feel like I'm making the right choices too. Oh, and add in the random crying episodes like yesterday when I cried over SpongeBob hurting Patrick's feelings. He has always been a feeling stuffer. He covers pain with work and constant activity, and even the affair in my opinion. I do not think he was historically a cheater, but I do think he's developed an addictive personality over the past few years. And I think he really did use that affair as a high, not making excuses. The broken pieces of him are still there and no, he isn't fixing them. He is still stuffing them with work and chores and hobbies as best he can, and still a lot of pain and regret and self-hatred are bubbling over. but his behaviors are not mine to try and fix. I have made 0 suggestions this time about what I think he should do. Haven't even hinted at the very real problem that he needs professional help for his issues. I already told him this the first time with my many other mistakes. He says he understands that I need time and a physical separation, that he will prove that he is worthy, and if I decide I don't want him at the end of that, he will respectfully accept and still treat me with kindness and take care of me financially when I divorce him. Separation agreement is already filed, but whatever. I think he will find someone new in that time and it will be a moot point. I don't think he will fix himself. But it doesn't matter what I think. I am doing this for me and my healing, not to watch and see what he does. My goal is to disentangle myself from him and his needs and see what that feels like for the first time in 2 decades. I still feel relief that I don't have to work in this marriage anymore. He has stopped with the barrage of it. Thankfully, well, it's happened. Huge falling out. I'm back to being the lazy, selfish, money-grubbing witch. I'm controlling and I need to get on with my life according to him. And I failed to keep my mouth shut. I told him he was lying, cheating, evil-hearted person, and he and his unpaid WH0 can have each other. He left to stay the night at a friend's house and says he will be looking into getting an apartment for the next few months. I'm not sure there is anything available, so I'm not holding my breath. So, apparently since reconciliation is not on the table, it hasn't been since D-Day 2, so why he is suddenly a raging idiot. Remorse is no longer on that table either. I want to be sick, but I have nothing to puke up at the moment. I can only hope that things don't slide further south. His moods are utterly unpredictable and all over the place. Praying for some peace in my life. I need it, quickly. So, he's been out. I feel relieved in one sense. It's not awkward or tense feeling. But now all that is stripped away and I'm starting to feel the raw hurt of the situation. And the grieving for the end. I know I've had months to come to terms with the end of the marriage, but it's never been quite as real as it is now. And it hurts. He is being cordial and only contacting about the kids now. I'm doing very well about not contacting him. The mind movies still play, including new ones about what he is probably up to, but they aren't as traumatizing as they used to be. So that's improvement. I needed a counseling appointment this week, but they're out with lockdown. I've had to cut some people I thought were my friend recently. It's interesting that I'm having to call more people out of my life. Apparently, all forms of death bring out the worst in people, including the death of a marriage. It also hurts that people find my destroyed life a source of entertainment and malicious gossip. I've never had the guts to be as straightforward as I am now, so I told them in no uncertain terms to get lost. I am thankful for my kids right now. Their innocent joy and giggles is sometimes all I have to keep me grounded. It's like my world is being burned to the ground. But that's also the good part of all this too, because I don't want to have a foot in both worlds and I need the destruction to force me to move forward. I know the hurt is necessary, so I'm making sure that I let it happen. All of it still feels like a nightmare that refuses to end. The magnitude of sadness and loss is pretty intense. I watch funny animal videos and make sure I laugh once a day. It's hard to care about or do things that I need to do, like cleaning and cooking, and I have to force myself to do it. Half of me is looking forward to having a house that's mine and my own space. The other half of me is terrified. Some days I'm numb, some I'm depressive, and some other days I'm mad as hell at the sheer injustice. So obviously I'm still very much in victim mode, which isn't where I want to be, but that's just what it is right now. At least I can eat and sleep now. Not as much as normal, but I'm at 75% there, which is improvement. He asks what he can do to make this better. I have no response to that. It makes me feel better and worse that he asks that. I don't engage in much conversation with him. I realize now that reconciliation is 90% about fear. Fear of change and fear of the unknown. I also realize that cheating is also in a way fear. Cowards who don't want to face being alone and the unknowns of getting divorced without having something else set up first. He didn't plan on divorcing me, but I know he took comfort in knowing there was a backup plan. And she just wanted a new relationship lined up before ending the current. They took their fear off themselves and passed it to their spouse and children instead. I've also come to realize that any male who vows to love and protect his family and then becomes a traitor to that family is not even a man anymore in my eyes. He failed me as a man. He failed his children as a man. There is nothing on this planet more important than protecting your family, and he betrayed us. I don't even know how a person lives with themselves after doing that. I wouldn't be able to. The sad thing is, I don't want to stay. I know I don't. So, I don't know why I have this other part of me that's wearing at me. I thought I was a pretty normal person before all this shined a light on my illusions. I essentially chose this life, and where I am as I use hindsight. The very thing I was most afraid of is what I chose. I am so very aware of how pathetic and stupid I sound. I pray for strength and resolve every day. I'm not actually considering reconciliation, just having really jacked up fears and thoughts which I know are unreasonable. I'm sure I'll keep having them. It just gets exhausting arguing with my insecurities, you know. I have a lawyer and a legal separation in place. I got what I believe a fair deal. As for the rest of it, this is not a guy that gets told what to do. He will take care of his kids financially and by proxy me. But I don't recognize him anymore. He's become someone I don't know, so I'm not sure if he will even have the kids on overnights when we leave. 4 years ago, there would be no question. Now, no, I doubt it. And I will not beg him or force him to have the kids. My 99 came up with some strategies with me to play the game in the meantime to get as much peace as I can get, and it seems to work okay. But not always, because I am still human. Just an impossible situation for now, but I will be moving out as soon as my new place is built. Christmas will be difficult, but I already feel much stronger today. I just have weak moments, but never weak enough to have wavered from my plan, thankfully. The house, I amend, my house is closing soon. Very soon. Emotions are terrible at this time. It feels just as bad as the first few months when I found out. I still just can't accept that this is my goddamn life. I feel angry as hell, and yet there's nobody around to validate that anger and hurt to the extent that I need. It's probably not even possible to feel validated enough for my liking. I guess I thought I'd be happy right now. I'm not. I feel a lot of anger and fear, and of course my old friend Sadness never leaves. Can always count on her. She's not as cute as the cartoon one. I've been living in hell for a year, and it seems that hell just keeps stretching out before me as I contemplate the ruin of everything I worked so hard for and trusted in for so long. The construct of my entire life, laying in pieces. I have to tell my kids tomorrow. I have to tell my kids their family is over, and we are moving to a tiny house with a tiny yard, and they won't be living next to their friends anymore, while their dad stays here in our huge family dream house, alone, until he quickly finds my replacement and moves her in here, that is. Then I'll get to have that conversation. So good times. They'll get to come see their broken, depressed, angry father every other weekend in their own effing house that will no longer be their home. It just makes me sick. Really, I would rather break my own legs than tell them, but it has to be done. I've been placed in an impossible situation where I have to be the mature and reasonable person even though I got crap on. Where I have to be the bad guy making all the decisions to leave him and break up the family, but really, I didn't make any of those decisions. I just get to carry the weight of following through on what he decided for all of us. But it's only me who carries that burden, because I can't be okay with my H putting his crap and heart where they don't belong. None of it is fair to me or my kids. I would have walked on water to make this marriage work. I would have done anything for him. But he chose to throw me away. It makes me feel completely worthless, which is ridiculous. I'm worth a hell of a lot more than he and his AP combined. That's a fact. For one, I don't screw other people's spouses, and for two, I actually take care of my kids with my whole heart and all my time instead of screwing other people's spouses. That alone makes me the better person by my calculations. Unfortunately, as you can probably tell, I feel completely the opposite of any progress I've made in the last 10 months. I wish he would just go back to the guy I married. I wish he would be a man and own his crap and fix his broken pieces, instead of a little bee that hides and covers his emotions with everything he possibly can use to do so. And I'm so ridiculously used to taking care of him, I'm concerned about his hurt. His hurt. The guy that treated me like worthless garbage is now hurting because his catastrophic screw-up destroyed our entire family, and I feel bad. How very sad he chose to screw someone else. I mean, it was just so terrible for him, right? I'm sure he really didn't like all those orgasms and the fawning she did over his perfect everything that was completely fake. I don't know how to disengage myself from caring about what he does, with whom and where. I am hoping that the distance will take care of that problem for me, but dropping my kids off at the house we bought together as our forever home is probably going to hurt like a bee, not going to lie. Why am I so fixated on things? They mean too much to me. They are triggers, they are symbolic, they are everywhere. I need to work on that. Anyways, it's going to be a really screwed up couple of weeks. I have some bookmarked reading for threads that I'm still going to work through if I can, but I'm going to take a time out. Maybe a sabbatical is a better word. I just want to get my head right. It's so not right. I'm thinking horrible things like, why the hell isn't he fighting for me? Let's be honest, if he did fight tooth and nail to make it right, I'd still be moving out. So why do I care? Why am I even toiling over a person's thought process looking for bright and shiny clues when he is completely jacked in the head anyway? It's like looking for a light bulb in a pile of elephant crap. Why would I do it? So, the point is, it never gets easier. It just gets more complex. If I would have been able to move out the first month, or 2, or 3, I'd just have the garbage emotions. Now I have to untangle the trauma of trying to push through almost a year of living in constant anxiety and internal turmoil. Update, for anyone, or nobody, whatever, things are coming along nicely, waiting for a few key pieces of furniture, and then it's a done deal. Going slow and steady, and it's a lot easier on the kids. FYI, I consulted a family counselor about the when you tell at the beginning of the ordeal, and 2 to 3 weeks is the sweet spot for younger children, and I can see why. They went from terror to confusion to sadness to anticipation, and now they are just ready to move. So, it's all played out pretty well. They've been helping work on things, pick out their furniture and plan and decorate, so it's made things a lot less scary for them, and dare I say, normal. They still have a lot of emotions and questions, but it was the perfect amount of time to make the transition, and I'm glad I have had it. Honestly, there is a lot of these scenarios that go much worse than mine. My house is slowly becoming my own, and I can feel the peace within those walls. It's hard to explain. There is sadness in spades, and anger still of course, but there is peace there. I will be there full-time within a week. Emotionally, I'm 100 times better than the last post. It's all a gigantic roller coaster through sewage, as many of you know. Like comment, change is scary. It's perfectly natural to be angry in the face of some major ones. The young ones, they need to know and adjust without it being suddenly sprung on them, at least the older one. Keep your mind busy, body nourished, and feel what you feel until you get a handle on things.